All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. Over the weekend, we've had some fun. We've actually touched on a couple of false doctrines that are being perpetuated out there in the Hebrew community. And I think that one of the big mistakes that a lot of these people who are involved in these camps, I call them the alphabet soup camps, is that they really truly think that I give a damn or give a care about their opinions and what they what they're thinking. Listen, Straightway is a ministry about bringing forth fruit. And you follow me? And I mean, and by their fruits you shall know them. Um, if you notice, these camps and their leaders, they have no game plan for their people, and you can see that the world is going from bad to worse. Their game plan is be stuck in the city, and the Most High is going to provide. No, the Most High is going to destroy them cities, just like He did Sodom and Gomorrah. And a wise man prepares his house. A wise man foresees the evil day, and he prepares for it. A foolish person will sit there and do just like the world does, make excuses and stuff. So these people have no plan. And even though the blueprint is sitting right there in the Gospels and sitting right there in the book of Acts, they are not going to do it. They have no word of deliverance, no word of setting free. Get out there, stay in debt, borrows are serving to the lender. They don't care. No common unity, nothing whatsoever at all. The white man is the devil, but you got to go beg the white man for a job. I mean, it's just crazy the nonsensical perspectives and point of views and attitudes that people have today. And if you watch this ministry any length of time whatsoever at all, it's obvious that having sustainability and being self-sufficient and knowing who your neighbors are. See, we know who our neighbors are, and we have a very tight-knit unit with our tribe in all the communities, and we're continuing to keep growing. Now, I'm not saying that they are the most perfect place in the world to live, because it ain't, because some of them just simply don't have it together. In the mindset, they have not been transformed in mind. But if people think that I care one bit about your disparaging comments or your disagreements, I'm not in the shape that you're in. And remember this: people are only going to go as far as their leader goes. If your leader ain't worth a damn, he ain't trying to do nothing to deliver you or to get you set free, to get you to where you can live set apart, so we can live in quiet and peaceful life. And if the people don't see it, they ain't going to do it. But they want you. Your leaders want you out there in that city, toiling for the next 20, 30 years, and then hooked up to some type of vampire machine, dying of the same sickness and diseases that the world has and stuff. One thing I learned about my people is that a lot of them are scared of work. They are literally just afraid of work. But you're going to pay, and it's going to echo, and we're sitting there watching this economy. We're watching this society. How in the world can you be at peace sending your children to those public food systems to where you got transgender children, people of alternative lifestyles, and you soak and immerse your children in that environment? And then they're going to come home and you think you're going to have some type of holy set apart home or mind. And you send your wives out there to work out here wherever Tom, Dick, Harry, Mutt, and Jeff, who got lustful spirits, along with the wives, some of them self, that they can actually exploit them on a daily basis. You people live out there. You know better than I do how wicked this world is. And you mean to tell me, after reading what Jesus says and what the gospel says, that ain't nobody out there trying to obey what this book says and do it? Let me tell you something. When you have righteousness, your righteousness will reflect upon the corruption of people, and all they have is words. If you notice, there's one thing systemic about these videos I've been doing. Rather than the people actually really truly acknowledging the truth that is actually being spoken, they go off, and their minds is so schizophrenic, they start to go off and start to, well, what about this and what about that and what about this and what about that, rather than staying on subject and on point at hand. It's sad, isn't it? It's a very, very sad time and a very, very sad world that we find ourselves in. And it's tough getting people to be on. Did the Bible not say that these all having one heart, one soul, one mind, one spirit? Let me give you an example. I'll pull up this phone right here. I'm going to pull up my Bible over here on this e-sword. And let's go over to the book of Acts. All right. I'm going to go to the second chapter. And I'm going to start over here. All right. at verse 42. Now, what I'm getting ready to read is things that your preachers and teachers will never read. If they read it, they will never live it. And you people, poor people out there stuck in Christianity, waiting for your ship to come in, while your pastors, your preachers and teachers and leaders are buying Bentleys and buying yachts and Lear jets and everything else, and you go to church with a hope, wearing suits and carrying on and getting out there in the corporate world, hitting and making all kind of money so you can bring them more tithes. You waiting for your ship to come in, and then they'll tell you to go out and get in mortgage and get into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and you call yourself blessed. But you will ignore what the Bible says. The borrower is a servant to the lender. Somebody's right and somebody's wrong. Look what it says over in Acts chapter 2. Starting at verse 42. And they continued steadfast in the apostles' doctrine, fellowship, and breaking bread and in prayers. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. How many wonders and signs done by your leaders out there, your pastors, your bishops, your captains, your generals, your elders? And now the majority of them is just as sick as the people in the world. Yah said in Exodus 15:26 that if we would obey him, his voice, that he would not put none of these diseases up on us, just like he did the Egyptians. And you talk about the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the people in the world, and you're suffering from the same diabetes. You suffer from the same sickness, the high blood pressure, everything the world got, you got, but you're people who say you got faith. The truth is, many, all you have is mental assent. Yeah, this is a scolding. This is a rebuke. This is a correction so you can actually find out how to get on the plumb line, how to get on the straight and narrow way. And then it says this in Acts 2:44, and all that believe were together. Now, let's stop right there. This is the actual blueprint. This is the way that the apostles understood it after the death, burial, and resurrection of the Messiah. And when they were speaking with the Messiah, they got that this is the way they're supposed to be doing things. Why is that not preached and teach where you're at? See, they have no freedom or deliverance for you whatsoever, nothing but oppression and depression. And it's just sad. And I'm going to say it again. You're only going to go as far as your leader goes. That's it. And if your leader ain't going no damn where, you ain't going no damn where. That's why the Bible says the blind lead the blind, and they both fall into the ditch, and you become leaders of the blind. Mark my words, if we see this world going from bad to worse, you're going to wish that you had obeyed what I said. And it's actually, 10 years ago, I ain't even expect to be this worse. I knew it was going to be bad, but this bad, imagine another 10 years go by what it's going to be like. I mean, I'm up here in Canada right now where the people are forced to send their children to the public school system. They are forced vaccinated. And the children, you can see children 3, 4, 5 years old, and they still can't put together word. What's your name? What? How old are you? And I got a granddaughter, Abigail, down there, 2 years old. They can quote the commandments in English and speak the books in Hebrew, in English, and in Spanish. 2 years old. And up here, there, it's off the chain. It really is. And then you think that I'm actually going to be affected by you pointing a finger at me when you're in them same old pathetic positions and not even looking for a day of deliverance or even a means of salvation? It's sad. I'm going to say it again. The people are only going to go as far as a leader goes. And many of your leaders, they got you out there chasing that dollar. So you keep bringing in your offerings, bring in your tithes. Isn't that something about Christianity? The Sabbath is done away with, but boy, bring in your tithes, bring in your offerings. Boy, that law ain't done away with though, isn't it? Anyway, the early assembly, the earlier church gave us the blueprint, and they showed us that in Acts 2:44, and all that believed were together and had all things common, and sold their possessions and goods, and parted them to all men as every man had need. And they continued daily with one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house, and did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising Yah and having favor with all people, for the Lord added to the assembly daily such as should be saved. Now that's Acts chapter 2. All right, let's go over to Acts chapter 4. And I'm telling you, this is the message that you will never hear. Your camps, your tribes, your assemblies, your home fellowships, your gathering, your preachers that teach, they ain't going to never do this because they don't have the faith to do this. See, straightway is in your face to straight up show you that it can be done. It ain't that mean you want it done. It's just it ain't that it can't be done. It won't be done because you will not change your will. But you know what? When shit hit the fan, guess what you're going to be looking for? A community. You're going to be looking for a place of people who have already prepared, who have stored food, who have gotten themselves ready. And people say, well, you go to store food. Well, you go to a grocery store, they storing food there for you, don't you? Except you have to depend on them and their food storage in order for you to purchase it. And isn't that crazy? Isn't that nonsensical the way we think today? It's off of the chain. And anytime somebody's doing something different than the way the world is going, all of a sudden they're a cult, they're all this and that. What the hell you are? What are you then? A mindless minion? You have to depend on the systems. We depend on ourselves. We don't depend on the systems for our livelihood. We depend on ourselves and the ability that y'all given us. And yet you're going to point fingers at us? That is all but comical and laughable. Let me go on here. So you got a $300,000 or $400,000 home that you done paid 15 years of mortgage on, and you're just one job and one paycheck, 2 paychecks away from losing the whole entire thing. Remember the housing crisis? Ooh, 2008? That was bad, wasn't it? Let's go over to Acts chapter 4. Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep on reminding y'all. Acts chapter 4, verse 32. And the multitudes of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul, neither said any of them aught the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things common. Isn't that amazing? And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was on him also. See, I know about grace more than a lot of you folks, especially you Christians. See, when you have a man that's sitting here in front of your face showing you that it can be done, it didn't make any excuses. Doing this well before there was any YouTube. Doing this well before internet was even in full swing. What this is a finger pointing in your face to show you that your excuses don't mean nothing. We don't have nobody living in our community. We got 30-something people living straight away. Not one of them is in debt. And they have their own homes, literally their own homes. I remember when people used to mock us and jeer us when we was living in these ragged trailers and everything else. But we sure was content, though, with our little wood stoves and stuff, making ends meet, working hard. Well, guess what? Now straightway is not the laughing stock no more. See, a lot of these communities that you see in the world, they start off one way and they stay that way. We started off in trailers and now we have homes, solid homes, and content and more of them. And you know the reason why homes are better than yours? Because they are paid for. That's, the blessing of the Lord is rich and it had no sorrow. Yeah, I'm trying to appeal to your conscience and mind because I ain't talking to your leaders because your leaders are blind guides. I make these videos for you, the people, to use self-autonomy. So you can be able to start really, truly thinking and putting this stuff together. There's some people out there. Hey, there's somebody out here that love you more than you hate yourself. And I'm going to tell you, these blind leaders, man, they're fleecing you. Every single one of you, they're fleecing you. And they give you what your wicked little unconverted flesh wants because that's what your flesh wants. Anyway, back over here to Acts 2:43. Well, I'm on 40. Acts chapter 4, verse 34. And neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were, and you possessors of lands and homes sold them. Then you are stuck in them cities and them stairway living. You don't possess anything, so therefore you can't sell nothing. And you're going to look up 10, 15, 20 years from now and realize that you've worked all your life and you still don't own nothing. You want to know what real true sovereignty is? Own a piece of land. That's real true sovereignty right there. And they don't want you to have that. They don't want you to have that at all. And your leaders definitely don't want you to have that because if everybody in their mindset is out there, then guess what? You can't bring in your tithes and offerings and you can't give it in Jesus' name. Sad, isn't it? Neither was any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands and houses sold them and bought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. That's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. You can't even trust even your leaders out there for you to sell everything and then lay it at their feet and that they would do right by you. Because too many times, more often than not, what happens? They usually amassed all this wealth and they do it only for their own selfish self. People talk about, oh, my leader is my leader that. I tell you what, I've had 6, 7, 8 people in the last 2 years that have literally came to me and gave me the deed to their homes and the deed to their lands. Just gave them to me. You've seen the videos. And without fail, I've given it right back to each and every last one of them. There's been a few people I told me, you give me the deed to your land and home, you ain't getting it back. Because I'm going to make sure that the saints live under a fair rule. Now, if your pastor, preacher, teacher, bishop, elder, deacon, or whatever the world he is, general, wherever they are, if they so honorable, why come nobody, or why is it that nobody out there is giving their whole livelihood to them? I'm telling you the reason why. Because regardless of what some of these negative people who you can't peer into their lifestyle say about PastorDowell on the internet, the one thing you can't deny is the works. Jesus said, if you can't believe me for what I'm saying, then believe me for the very work's sake, because they do testify of me. I know it's finding hard to believe. And all these people got all these fingers they put forth and stuff, but guess what? I guarantee you, you won't eat one fruit coming off of none of those murmurers and complainers, those backbiters, evil beasts, slow bellies. I guarantee you, you will not listen to them. I remember people, they would join together in a coalition because remember, he that rebuketh in the gates is hated. I remember they would join together in a coalition against PastorDowell. Oh, then they all, well, we're going to go fellowship. We're going to go do this and we're going to go do that. Yeah, go ahead and go on. You know how long it lasts? They don't even make it a full year before they eat each other's throat. And then they're talking about each other and they're scattered. Now they've gone back off in the world. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. It is something that's comical. It literally is comical. All but laughable. See, this is real talk. It profits Christianity to keep you in those churches because you keep paying the tithes. And see what happens is man goes out here, buys a building, gets out there and start preaching to your flesh. And he knows if you tell the truth that you can't get people to come in. Think about this for a second. I could have been the biggest preacher in Nashville, Tennessee. I could have been the biggest preacher in the South by now. All I had to do was preach prosperity, know how to do it. I'm charismatic enough and have enough anointing and power enough of healing and deliverance. That I do in the magnificent name of Yahshua, and we give him the glory for it. I'm charismatic enough, powerful enough, anointed enough that all I had to do was just sit up there and just compromise the message, preach you Christmas, Easter, and Sunday, talk about the blessings that you're going to have. And by now, I'll probably had 25,000 member church in Nashville and shut down all the other ones. Because I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. But I would never sell my soul or your soul for a song and a dance and for a lie to keep the perpetual pagan system going when I know that hell is going to have to be paid for. First of all, I love my soul and I love you enough to tell you the truth. So I don't mind not being popular in people's mindset because somebody got to reprove. As a matter of fact, one of the attributes of preaching is, first of all, preach the word. Be instant in season and out of season. Reprove and rebuke. When was the last time you was reproved or rebuked by your preachers and teachers? When was the last time? Because open rebuke is better than secret love. When was the last time somebody even cared about you and loved you enough to rebuke? And do you have the humility to be able to hear it and change? So you can continue to keep listening to all these people lying out there. That's your prerogative. Hey, I'm more power to you. Hey, I hope you're happy. Keep going. But the one thing that I told you, the more negative comments I get, the more people I got hating on me, all that does, it works the very opposite with me. All that does is embolden me to drive on even harder, to be even more righteous, to help. And maybe just one person will see and hear. Just one person. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I hope you consider what I say and you get understanding and comprehension, because I know one thing. The people that come to this ministry from all different walks of life, and we've got doctors, lawyers, professionals. We got them from all different educators, housewives. We've got them coming from all different. I know one thing they all enjoy. You know the one thing they all enjoy in their homes? Peace. Peace. And remember in this walk, and I'm going to leave you with this. If you're really truly going to serve the real true Jesus Christ, the real true Yahshua HaMashiach, you will experience the sword. You ain't getting past that. And the sword is coming in your house first and foremost. Your natural, unconverted, wicked, religious family members will hate you. You know what I'm discovering? I just had two uncles pass away, all in one week. And I went to see one to give a video of my dad, who is immobile now, to his older brother. And of course, Uncle was very happy to see me. And I noticed that you could tell. I'm gonna give y'all a little tidbit. You could tell when people in the past may have had regrets or they have spoken evil of you in some kind of way or something like that. And 20 years later, when they see you, they just don't know how to respond. Because think about this: when I came up here to Canada, we drove 900 miles to come up here and spend a whole week with our brother and sister, brother Steve and sister Wenda, and we had a beautiful meeting with what we call the Northern Tribes of Israel. Brother Ugly always comes with bearing gifts and bringing good food as well. And when we see them, you know how everybody lights up and everybody just hugs each other after Devontae about to choke each other? That's what happens. But when you see these family members that have had their mouths on you over the years and stuff, it's like they got they're waiting on you. Now, mind you, they're the ones who have had the negative opinion and stigma. You're the ones been slandered against. But they wait on you to see how you're going to respond. And they like, okay. And of course, I always, hey, how y'all doing? Because my conscience is clear. It's free. And it's amazing to watch all that, though. It really, truly is amazing to watch all that. Just like on my wife's side, on my side, after 20-something years, it seems like that they all somewhat need you rather than you needing them. I know they did on my wife's side for sure. But all before then, we the cult, but we're not dying hooked up to a vampire machine, but we the cult. We the cult, but we're not going around slandering, saying disparaging things because we chose to follow the Bible. And many of you think you follow the Bible, but you end up acting like Satan and end up doing the very opposite of the Bible by actually bearing false witness. The deception is real. And I know I'm only speaking to believers out there. Hopefully I put a defibrillator on your mind to get you to really truly think about where you're at in life and where you're going. Because I'm telling you, some of you're going to look up 5 years from now, you're going to still be in the same old state. If we even survive another 5 years with the way this warmongering war machine of America is. But I'll tell you one thing, I hope you're growing in grace and growing in knowledge. Hope I said something to bring about some type of correction and reproof. And let me see that. Let me finish this. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. Reprove and rebuke and exhort with all long suffering. For the time will come that they will not endure sound doctrine. But you know what people will do? They will heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. People always go to the ones they love to hear. Always go to the ones that preach and teach the way they like it. You're not going to avoid the sword of the Lord. You ain't going to avoid the sword if you really truly have met the real Messiah. Read Matthew chapter 10, start at verse 30 and read to the end. You're not going to avoid this sword. So let's put all this boast to the test. Let's see if you're really real. Do you really truly believe? Y'all have a wonderful day. And Israel, stay strong. Looking forward to seeing y'all at Pentecost. King coming.